para sa for the by the virtue of parang autonomous as well as the everyone's preference and discretion. I was asking kung unsa na language inyong ganahan or would you would like to learn. So and it seems like majority of the class is choosing Java over the other. Okay, well, there's nothing wrong actually with choosing other language or with other language rather. It's like C++, C, or Python. So actually, Python is actually one of the most easiest language to learn. Okay, and I'm not actually parang may personally no, I'm not actually requiring Python as for the college. Mas okay siya for high school, no, for but for depending on what you will use actually. Kung ang purpose nimo is for machine learning and artificial intelligence, though Java and C++ actually can is capable of doing so, Python is actually the preferred no, language for that. So okay, now upon knowing so Java is the language now preferred by most. So we're going to use Java. Although, ang nasa inyong syllabus is C++ and now we can actually negotiate things out. So that's why this time I'm gonna be choosing Java over the other. So, okay na ta? So we'll be using Java. Tama?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
Sige. So, sige. So, shall we start? Oh, by the way, ano lang, to compare C++, Java, and Python, C++ was one of pinakauna na languages. This is actually the mother of all languages, if I may say. Before the advent of Java and Python, C++ was there. C++ was even used for multimedia, for server, for because it's believed to be closer to our hardware, no, to closer to the machine language. So which is it is said na it is a mid-level language, na siya sa low-level and high-level language. Compared to Java and Python, it's actually high-level language. So mid-level language siya in such a way that it's a little bit interacting to parang our machines, okay, compared to Java and Python. So Python, focus niya is for machine language, machine learning, deep learning, data science, and as well as artificial intelligence. Perhaps mauna iyahang pinaka-focus, no? Si Java, almost everything kaya ni Java. Okay. The good thing about Java is that dati different versions of Java. We have Java EE, Java SE, no, mga standard edition, enterprise edition, whatever is capable of other languages can do. Like si PHP can do only what they call this one, only web. No, si Java can also do web programming. So naapon si Java na for server programming, Java is also the best option. For artificial intelligence machine language, Java is also an option. And so to meet halfway, no, para dili kay siya ingon na kasi sa Python man god it's straightforward at the same time it's really easy to learn. Only that maglisod lang ka kung ang approach nimo is data science or mga machine learning na. Okay. But with C++, medyo ang iyahang idea is same with Java because as we all know, Java is just a copycat of C++. And only that si Java man god is upon copying the idea of C++, nag-innovate siya into web programming, which is mautong si what they call this one. I just forgot. But you are actually allowed to, or you can actually develop a not just a standalone application, but you're also able to develop a web application through yun, applet. Okay, and the good thing about also with Java is it is used for developing Android application. So, but there is another language for doing Android application today, which is Kotlin. But nevertheless, Java is still an option for developing Android application. In fact, if you know Java, if I mean, if you really know Java well, you you can easily adapt other languages. The same way, if you know C++, you can easily adapt Java. So either way, either way. But if you're coming from Python and you go to Java and C++, you cannot learn that easily Java and C++. But if you know C++, there's a big chance that you know Java. Or if you know Java, there's also a big chance you know C++. But I mean, also it would be easily to it follows that dali nimo masabtan si Python. The same with other languages, whether it is Visual Basic .NET, C Sharp, and even PHP, no, native PHP. Pareha lang silang syntax mostly sa Java. Okay? So now, ang kanay sa Java is sa GUI, mas dali siya kaysa sa C++ and with Python. Like maghimo kag UI. But naay pinakadali, Visual Basic .NET and C Sharp. But ang problem lang with VB.NET and VB C Sharp is that you'll need to install .NET framework, and this will cost us parang memory as well as our hardware, no? Parang what I'm trying to say here is that dili siya flexible because it requires a framework. So once it is a framework, you really have to download the framework for it to work. And there are a lot of dependencies. The good thing about the best na i-learn ninyo is Java, because Java can actually run on, aside from, it can run on different platforms, different operating systems, Linux, Mac OS, Windows. So nice kasi Java. Though other languages can also do that. So multi-platform siya. At the same time, portable. Portable na makopy-paste lang nimo ang codes, and then without actually parang without actually considering the dependencies. Okay? So now, there are IDEs that we'll need to follow. Okay? So IDE is an integrated development environment. So I have actually sent you an IDE that you can install. You can use JCreator, you can use NetBeans, you can use VS Code, you can use Java Doctor, but I am used into developing an app through or using Eclipse. No? So did you guys install it? Naka-install na sa inyong computers?
Na-download lang, sir, pero wala naman.
Na-download na pero wala na install. Sige. So, do you want me to instruct you how to dali laman. Okay, na-download na nimo. Would you like to share your screen para makita sa others na i-download? Sige. Sige, i-download siya.
Na-excuse ko, sir. Sa laptop
Yes,
na i-download, sir.
pero pwede siya sa phone pero dili Eclipse Dili sa
Katong Java IDE, sir, sa phone.
naay Java IDE sa phone. This is only intended for katong na iPhone na kani akong So let's JDK first na atong i-install ani class is JDK. By the way, when we talk about JDK is Java Development Environment. Okay? So it's dati Java is, or JDK is actually under Sun Microsystems. No, so this was created by James Gosling. Si James Gosling, si C++ kay si Bjarne Stroustrup, si C kay Dennis Ritchie, si Python kay si nakalimot ko, the Rosum man to Rosum. Kalimot ko, but Java was created by James Gosling. Okay, so it's now under Oracle Corporation. So you can download the latest version of Java right here. So depending on the JDK that you're going to use. So again, JDK is Java Development Kit. Okay, so naay dagang version on the JDK na atay Java 11, Java 17. Ang pinaka-latest karon is Java 17. Dara oh. So Java 17, and then depende po siya sa SE kung standard edition inyuha or enterprise edition. So atong gamiton karon is Java JDK SE, no, standard edition. Katong pang practice lang. So you can have here an option either Linux, Mac OS or Windows. So pili lang mo dira kung asa ang inyong unsa inyong OS dito mo pagpili. Ayaw nang kanang installer pili class kanang installer. Pwede kaning MSI. Okay. So kung Mac OS kaning installer pod. Kung Linux based inyong OS kaning package ayaw ng archive. Okay. So that's the first thing you will do. You'll need to choose a JDK. JDK is Java Development Kit. Under JDK, once ma-install na nato na siya, nana siya JRE. JRE is Java Runtime Environment. That is where our libraries stored. No? So katong mga libraries sa Java makita nato. So later on after mag-install ta JDK ipakita na ko sa inyong mga library. So ang Eclipse is just an IDE para maka-develop ta og Java. Okay? So in the www.eclipse.org, you can see here different versions of your JDK Eclipse. So naay Lonar, naay sa nga version ng uban dere. Basta dahan kay version sa Eclipse, no? You can actually install the latest one, this one, 2021. Okay? So kinsa to naka-download na kay ato ang ipa-unsa ni? Ipa-demo nato sa iya. I mean, who wants to volunteer?
Si Maitom sir, tulo ka book i-download.
Oh, sige, Maitom. Go ahead. Okay, sige. Sige, who wants to download? Yeah, by the way, welcome everyone, no. This is BS 100 tanan from 2281A and 2281B. I invited 2281B 1B. I don't know if you know each other, so siguro probably na ay uban sa inyo kaila siguro. Kaila ba niyo ang uban from 2281B?
Dili, sir.
Dili kayo. So, okay.
Kaila, sir.
Na good. Okay. Naay mga may mga naay 2281B dire like si kinsa ga ito? Naman to yung Mr. ninyo dire. O kani si Hubert, mo man yung Mr. yata, Mr. Papa Ball. Si Mr. Papa Balls. Ay, di day ikaw? Abinog ikaw to.
Tabla daw siya, sir.
Sige. Who wants to volunteer? Kisay gusto mag-try? Ano lang, para maka-install lang. Dali lang man i-install. Install lang, kanang naka-download na. Kisa to naka-download na.
Naka-download sir, pero wala nang pag-permission mag-install.
Nihawa si Hubert. O sige, Maitom. Sige, go. Edlian, can you share your screen? Nihawa na si Hubert na unsa na ka to? Okay, 2281B, welcome. So, para di na ta mag-meet unya, no, isaho na nato sa 2281A. Okay, balik-balik maghihapon atong discussions. Though, syempre, you cannot sail on the same ocean. Oh, charot. Para lahi gihapon na may instances na lahi ang mga na-discuss nato na topics or depending man na sa inyo or depending on the questions, no. O sige, na siya, naka-install na siya JDK. So all you just need to do is install that one. So okay, ay mo kadlok mag yes dira. So yes lang na ninyo. Pag no kasi, no means you don't want to install it. Oh yes, pwede MSI, pwede basta installer, ayaw tong archive kasi ang archive i-extract nimo siya and then ibutang nimo siya sa C, nyo man ano pa nimong dependency sa imuhang device. So mas okay kung naka-installer siya. Okay, so we'll wait for the installation. So by the way, you cannot run a program without JDK. So imong Eclipse ma-install na nimo pero dili ka maka-write og Java program. I would suggest kung katong uban, kung gusto mo na kung gusto mo na inyuhang human na close, human na siya, installed na. Kung gusto mo na different languages inyuhang isa lang ka application, like kung Java ay kung C++ atong anohon is unsay tawag ni, pwede Eclipse, pwede gyapon Eclipse. Pwede man pud mag-Python sa Eclipse. Pero ang pinakaano is the dev C++. Pero if you want na mas siya latest and mas pro siya, you can use VS Code, no? You just type VS Code. Kana siya mura na siya C#, Python, Java, Perl, most programming languages na that is actually made by Windows. So pwede to nyo i-type lang na VS Code. Then pero mag-setup gihapon mo. So karon we'll use Eclipse and Eclipse to run Java programs. So according sa kay nag-install na siya JDK. Okay, Eclipse na yun i-install na to. Ayan, Eclipse. So napoy Eclipse na portable, napoy Eclipse na archive. Kung archive siya, dili na nimo need i-install na siya na application. But since application siya iyahang na download ni Edlian, we'll need to install that Eclipse thing. Okay? Tapos gani di ay si JDK pwede lang na nimo siya i-install sa imuhang pwede lang nimo i-install directly sa imuhang pwede na nimo dalon sa imong flash drive, no? Pwede na dalon nimo sa flash drive. Portable man siya. Okay? Unlike other programming languages na kailangan dependencies. So right there, ang iyahang Eclipse karon is the latest one. Okay? So mao ni ang mga Java. Okay, ayaw sa so mao ning mga different versions na pwede ka maka-develop og na PHP, na C++, na ay RCP, RAP. So pero this time atong pilion is instead of kana siya, atong pilion is katong pinakauna. Okay, kay diha IDE for Java developers. Dili lang ta kay basic lang man. And then pwede ka magpili dira unsa na installation folder. It depends sa imo kung asa nimo siya install. And then natay Java version dira na 17 sa C. Ayan, i-install. Okay, click install na diretso. Thank you. Ayan, so accept lang na. Okay, so we'll just wait for the others to install. So while waiting for the installation, ayan. So I have already also sent you a video or like tutorial, no? So in advance para maka-review mo sa Java. So naapod ko i-appeal dito na tutorial para you could always get back whenever things are going to be like dili na medyo lisod na sabton. Okay? So, yun. But before that, any questions so far? Yeah, tama di ay pwede mo katong mga walay dili gusto mag-install og Java, pwede mo Eclipse, pwede mo mag-develop diretso sa browser. Okay? So actually naatay Java compiler online. So I'm going to give you different options. Wait for a while. Ako lang i-search. So for those na dili mag-install, okay, pero again limited lang ang access nato ani sa ato ang I will tell you earlier ha, medyo limited lang ang access nato sa library sa Java ani as well as sa unsay ma-develop nato. So is-send nako sa inyuhang there is some messages nato. So these are the online compilers. So kung phone po din yung gamit na apod ta AIDLE or Java IDE, pwede mo magamit ato. So you can also have here, pwede po ni ka compiler. So, and then you can also have Programmis. Okay, and then with tutorial pa na siya. Wait. Ayan. Kana siya ng mga link, no, URL or link akong ihatag sa inyo. Those are links na I would advise, no, from which is ang top priority is the first one. Okay, sige. So nahuman na bag-install? Wala pa. Okay, while waiting for the installation, inato siya ang installation ni sige, wala to na nato murag hapit naman siguro na.
Hapit na sir, kung dili madugay.
Hindi madugay. Sige, while waiting for the installation, this is the ako sa no, ina ko kumuhuman nag-installed ano ha, is ano sa nako. Si padayon na lang sa ako. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the okay, mao ni ang online compiler which is online GDB. So actually daghang languages na mapili nato dire. Now Python, PHP, VB, HTML, SQLite, pwede ta makapili dire og any language, C++. So kung gusto mo dili mag-install, you can actually use this online GDB. Okay? Pero of course, I would like to work on with my especially if you would really want to what you call this one succeed in programming. You have to have an IDE installed in your machine. So this time, this is what it looks like katong Eclipse. So kung mapansin niyo mo ni ang Eclipse, upon opening it, actually, so inani siya ang forma na once na mo Eclipse, basta most likely yung icon ana is inani. So I have here, so ipiliw na ko Java Eclipse. This will ask me to create workspace. So by the way, kaning workspace, this is parang like office na to ba? Office that once we created an office, this is where our materials, the resources are placed, no? So this time, let's say we are going to follow this workspace in my data structures and algorithm na subject, but you can actually create your own. No, pwede mo mag-browse, and then by browsing it, you can create a folder, okay, to where you would like to store your what they call this one, your file. So in the file system, either sa drive D ba, sa local disk C, let's say sa HDD na ko siya ibutang, depende kung asan ako siya ibutang, diri ba sa malayan nako na klase, or depende, you can also create your own folder. So I'm going to stick with my John Paul na resource workspace. So ayan, I can have also choose here different workspace, but again, I'm going to stick with my workspace under Satoshi LCCDSA JP. Okay, so now click launch. Okay. So na-install dato imuha ano? Edlian, wala pa. Ayan. So this one is the dili kani ang mo appear sa inyo ha once you just installed first Eclipse. Naa pa siya welcome message about something like mag-welcome pa siya, Like if you want to know ani, may pa siya tutorial, blah blah blah. Humana ka Edlian, wala pa. Edlian? Loading daw kaayo, sige. Anyway, so to start with, okay, kung nato'y welcome page later on, pwede na nimo na siya i-close. Okay? So right here, this is an example of a program, no? Or this is right kung saan niyo makita mo yung sample of a project, no? Saba. So this is a Java project. Each of this one contains Java classes. By the way, before ta makaran og program, kailangan nato og project sa Eclipse, no? And then after that, each project pwede na siya mag-contain of different classes. So I'm going to create new project. So just go to File, New, Java project. Of course, you don't have to do this in online compilers. Okay? Like there is online compilers, you can just type anything you want here. Let's say for an instance, int x is equal to 3, y is equal to 6, and then I'm going to add this one, like for an instance here, the sum of x and x and y is example how okay example we have here is x plus y. I can directly do this. So I will just have to click run. So katong mga nag-computer na ay cellphone, so you can use you can use the browser instead, no? Online gdb.com or kato akong gipang send sa inyo. So the sum of 3 and 6 is 9. So again, the only problem with this one, ang disadvantage lang ani required og internet as well as limited lang ang iyahang functions. Pero okay na ni siya, no? I mean, for practice purposes, okay na ni siya na IDE. So right here, going back to our IDE Eclipse, this is what it is going to prompt to you. Tama ba ang grammar? This is what will prompt to you upon creating a Java project. So let's say for an instance, this is BES 100. So since everyone is here, the BASA and BASB are also here. So we are just going to name this BS 100. Okay. So now, by default, you can choose the, ano akong giingon sa inyo, JRE. What Java runtime environment are you going to use or you are going to use? So right here, you have the SE16. So meaning I haven't downloaded the latest one. Kanana may 17. But in my case, okay na ng 16. Closer, duol naman siya sa 17. Actually, Java 8 will do. Kaning 8, 9. So it's up to you kung unsa na Java SE mong gamiton. So ang ano lang man ana, mura lang guna siya og phone nato, no? Murag mga Android phone ba na from cupcake, ato na po siya donut, tapos atong eclair, ato na KitKat, lollipop, so mag-upgrade lang jud iyang features. So kani mag-upgrade lang po iyang mga libraries. So ayan, use an execution environment. So take it as is lang. But if you guys want to choose a project specified JRA, pwede ninyo ni siya pilion, no? Okay, pili mo ani. Pero kung unsa tong iyang giano na execution environment on JRA or Java Runtime Environment, you can actually do that. I mean, you take it as it is. Kung gusto ka na although dili kaniya gusto, kung gusto ka na kani siya, I mean, instead of ano ka Java runtime environment na EE or execution environment, you can actually use default JRA. Na instances na mag-error imuhang program along the way kung even pag start ni mo run sa imong program, mag-error imuhang, meaning dili i-read properly imuhang codes. So you can actually create new project and then pili aning use default JRE. So conflict lang na siya of probably kana ganing mag-install gani kag duha na ka JDK. So meaning nag-install ka gahapon og 17, tapos sunod nag-install kag 15, tapos pagka next day nag-install ka og Java 8 or JDK 8. So mag-conflict na siya, naglibog na imuhang Eclipse kung unsa yang i-follow. So you can actually use this default JRE. Pero kung nag-install lang ka from the very first time jud na JDK kani, so as is lang. Okay, kanaman ko maong gi-explain na ko ni siya. It's because there is an instance na mag-error jud na imong instance na mag-error imong program. So diri ka pili, use default or this one. So kani atong pilion kay working man ni ako okay, and then all this kani sila ayo na siya i-mind. Actually you can directly go to finish. Pwede po ka mag next, pero I would advise mag-finish na ka. Okay, ayaw lang cancel kay syempre tanan nimong gi-set up diri mawawala to. Pero i-try na to na mag-next. So in the next na portion, this is a little bit technical. This is actually you will see itong project name mo, module path, libraries. You can add libraries, mga jar files. So kaning jar file or JAR, tawag na to is Java archive. Okay? Kung naa kay mga libraries na dili built-in sa Java, pwede nimo siya i-add diri like database. Basta dahil mga jar files na pwede ma-download na to all over the internet. So nga required na kailangan na to i-import. But again, wala lang sa tay buhaton for now dira. Okay? And then click on finish. So kani siya mo ask ni sa imo katong mga newer versions mangod sa Eclipse, mag-ask to siya og module kasi ang programming karon kung especially pag team projects na siya, modular na siya, no, per module dapat ang pag-develop sa nakay per module sa imong the project is considered as a module. Pwede nimo ni siya don't create or i-create, but for now i-don't create sa nato ni. Okay, so don't create, and then there you are na natay BS 100. So under BS 100, you will see there JRA. Upon collapsing it, you can actually see here under that project folder, and then you will see also there JRA system library, and you can see there na Java Standard Edition 16 is the current version of your JDK, meaning mao na imuhang version sa imuhang compiler. Okay, so if you're going to collapse this one, you would see here lots of libraries. So mga libraries ni Java. And this one akong ingon na jar file. Built-in libraries ni sa Java upon installing JDK. So pa-appeal na ni siya, part na ni sa JDK. So if you're going to collapse this one, as again, you keep on collapsing that arrow there, it's going to show you a lot of libraries, a lot of resources under it. So of course, we don't have to know them, unsa na sila. So the only thing that we do right now is anything that is under SRC. By the way, when we talk about SRC, this is source. Okay. So now, what I would like you to do is we're going to create a class. Okay. So to create a class, click on the folder and then go to File, New, Class, or right-click this one. Okay, right-click, New, Class, or click and then kaning C plus here, class, that is actually a class, new Java class. So ako para sure ko na dito jud ma-create sa akong BS sa kanina folder, BS folder na project, I would need to right-click this one and then new class. So kanay akong ginabuhat, dili ko dito sa file, dili ko dito sa PCAS. Okay? After that, click class. And then, okay. So here, kung if ever na mali kag tuplok ato, okay, you can still browse kung unsa na source folder imuhang atuan like BAS 100B ba or A or DS1, DSA for JP. So it's up to you. Then kung nakay package, you can browse also package. Then for now, ayaw sana pang hilabde, and let's go directly with the name. So what's the name of the class? Okay, so naatay certain rules that we need to follow in naming our naming our classes. Okay, so please take note this. Number one, rules in naming classes. Pakibutang dito sa inyo ha. So though naka-record man you can just review later on, but mas okay kung ma-take note nyo. Number one, the class or the identifier or name of the class should not begin with digit, but it can contain digits. So, dili siya pwede mag-start with number, any number, pero pwede siya mag-contain og number. Example, this is, I'm going to create here sample tapos 1. So, okay, that's valid, no? Okay, so valid ang sample 1. Okay, but it cannot again begin with digit. Dili siya pwede mag-start with numbers, any numbers. Okay, that's number 1. Every identifier or class should not begin with digit. Okay, pero pwede siya mag-contain of digit. Number 2 rules. This is applied to almost programming languages. I'm not saying all, but almost all programming languages, if I'm not mistaken, follows the same rule. Okay, so next, your identifier or your variable or whatever method, variable name, class name, variable name, identifier. Okay, this must not begin with, must not contain special characters. Okay, ha? So,
Sama na, Mads.
Sorry, sir.
answer juro pa gani ko nagpa-quiz na answer lahi
Dili
ni
sa
mo
may
klase na.
naka-sir light, sir.
Sana all, no? Multitasking lang
Sorry,
peg.
sir. Namata na maganda bata.
Okay, sige. Anyway, let's get back to where I left off. So, sa itong pinakauna,
Not begin with digits, sir.
okay, not begin with digits pero pwede siya mag-contain of digits along the way. So, ang second is dili siya pwede na it must not contain special characters, pero there is an exception. Okay? Naay duha ka special characters na exempted na pwede nimo dawaton. Okay? So, example I have here sample and then iyon ko at, so dili pwede. Ingon ko og open and close parenthesis, dili pwede. Pero if I'm going to use $sign, pwede. If I'm going to use underscore, pwede. So, your Java class must not contain special characters except pwede siya mag-start with $sign, pwede underscore, basta dili siya pwede mag-contain og mga special characters. Example percent, dili pwede, asterisk, dili pwede, minus, dili pwede. So ang pwede lang jud or allowed lang jud kay $sign and underscore. Mailhan po na nimo kay magmuyaw-yaw ni siya dire, magpula. Okay, awa. So asterisk. So type name is not valid. The type name sample is not valid for identifier. So only allowed lang are $sign and underscore. Okay. Next, third rule. You are not allowed to name your class using Java keywords. Kani ang medyo lisod na part kasi you don't know the Java keywords. Good thing kasi si Eclipse would automatically recognize kung unsa tong mga keywords. Okay? Like for an instance, I'm going to declare my class as public. So modifiers are public. So therefore, I cannot make class as a public or I cannot name my class as public. Dili siya pwede package, dili siya pwede abstract, dili siya pwede final, and dili siya pwede na static, okay? Dili siya pwede int, dili siya pwede double, dili siya pwede string, pwede siya string, pero sige explain ako na sa inyo anong pwede ang string, but string is part of a data type, char, dili pwede, float, boolean. So how would you know that? Siyempre, no? you would know this if you're going to read the entire book of Java. Okay, but the good thing about Eclipse is you cannot proceed the creation of a class if you violate some rules. Okay, in fact, mag-error siya. So, therefore, upon writing it, at least kabalo kang anong error siya. Or upon naming your class, at least kabalo kang anong error siya. Or anong valid, invalid siya. Okay? So, dili siya pwede mga keywords. So, if you elaborate na akong string, string is actually a class. Pero, built-in class siya, pero pwede siya because wrapper class ni siya. So it is not actually a keyword. Later on, maggamit nato ng string as a data type. But for now, let's have sample muna. Okay, sample. Okay, so now, na chance na malimtan nimo siya. Malimtan nimo ni click. So this one, public static void main, string args, this is the main method of our program. Without it, your life is not going to function. Without it, your life is meaningful. The same with, di ba, kung wala siya sa imo meaningful imong life. The same with sa Java, kung wala na, Java can still, you can still write Java programs, but without main method, you cannot see and appreciate what you have created. Kasi dili nimo makita ang program nimo. Java must have at least one public static void main. So naay uban na classes, I would like to lang this one, naay uban classes na walay main. Okay? Pero most of the classes kay dapat na ay main. Kasi this is especially because if dili ta mag-create og kana na class, especially if kana na class is intended for mag-encapsulate lang ka or dili siya main program. So let's say, let's stick to this one na itong knowledge for now is kana lang sa, so public static void main, i-click nimo na siya. If dili na nimo i-click, pwede ra pud na siya, like we can still write that one. Okay? So tudloan ta mo unsaon siya. So let's say for an instance, wala nimo na-click nimo na siya. Of course, it will give you the structure of a Java program. So this is the structure of a Java program. Okay, before I will explain this one to you, if in case lang wala nimo to siya na-appeal, na-click ang public static void main, of course, mao lang ni ang display sa imong program. These are the only thing you will see in your program. Okay, so you will need to type it. Okay, public static void main and then string args. Dapat array siya and then args. Pero the easiest way, ang pinakadali nga pamaagi is type main, control space, enter. Yan. So if ever nalimtan ninyo, type lang ninyong main, control space, enter. Kit mo, gawas na si public static void main. So allow me to explain the structure of a program. So when we talk about public, Java has access modifier like public, private, protected, final, abstract. So let's focus on the public, private, and protected. So when we talk about public, any declared, any variable that is declared as public can be accessed outside of this class. So real world scenario, pag may tag public places, everyone can just go there. Everyone can keep on coming there without anything like any requirement from you, no? So, kaya public siya. Okay? So, ayan, public. All right? Then, the class is a specifier that pertains to that you're creating actually a class with the name sample. Okay? So, now, this one's right here, mao ni siya mga opening tags. Kung sa HTML pa ni naatay opening tags and closing tags. Sa Java, unlike with Python, walay mga closing tags. But si Java requires as na naay opening and closing. This would pertains that a certain block of statement is exclusive to only this statement. So meaning to say, if I have open curly brace here and close curly brace, whatever I have here inside of this will be in here only exclusive under public static void main. The same with kaning sa sample. So dili ni siya pwede mag-interchange na si public static void main outside of public class. So dapat si public static void main must be in a class. Okay? So now, the same with public sila. Now static, that's the, for now, static means there's only one object of it, or there's only one one version of that particular main. So meaning kanila siya main, and you cannot create or instantiate an object once basta inaana ang ngayang idea. But there's still more of it na pwede na ko na siya expound if maabot ta sa advanced programming. Okay? But for now, let's stick to it na si main is a static main method. Okay? And then void. So void means you don't return any value. So your program does not return any value. So kaya void, 'di ba? Null and void meaning wala, nothing is given to you. Parang inana. Nothing is being returned to you. Okay? And then main is a method. So pag makita gani mo open and close parenthesis, method na siya. Therefore main is a main method. So kaning string args, okay? Kaning mga string args, kani siya argument lang ni. Arg stands for argument. So pwede ni siya anything like JP. Okay? So it doesn't matter kung unsa na siya. As long as you follow the same rule. Dili pwede na, okay, dili pwede na mag-start with number. Same gyapon, no? Dili pwede mag-start og number. Dili pwede mag-contain og special characters. Ayan. So this one pertains to that the string is an array, that JP is an array, that args is an array. By default, args lang na because arg stands for argument, because this one is what we call argument. An argument that says our parameter here is a string of an array. String is an array of string type with an args name. Okay? So if you're going to ask me, asa ni siya ang args? Unsay gamit ana? Okay? So ang gamit actually ani niya is for if naatay mga values sa ato ang sa ato ang CLI or sa commands. Okay? We can actually see this sige, wait for a while lang. Let me see if makita pa nako siya. Wait. So run configuration, and then I'll go to arguments, and then let's say ano kung mga name, sige, at apple, name na nun, fruits na lang, banana, orange, durian. So let's say these are the program arguments. So kanina mga values, kani sila, ako aning i-display sa akong program. So i-apply na ko siya, and then run. Okay, so yan, run. Kung napansin ninyo, ayaw na, kay mga dati na naka-run. If I'm going to access, let's say args 0, akong gi-store dito first is apple. So I would be able to display here, what happened? Wala to na save, balik ta. Wait for a while. Basen, wala to siya na. Wala, judi ay. So, apple, banana, orange, durian. Save sa nato ni siya. Okay. Wait for a while. So, balik ta dire. So, there. Close na to. And then, let's run the program. Yan. So, apple. And then, I'm going to access second fruit that I have entered there. So banana. Yan. So that is the arguments. Pero as of now, actually meaningless na siya. Wala na kayo unsa na. It doesn't do that much. It doesn't do anything sa karon. For now, I'm going to discuss to you since we already discussed about the structure of a program or as Java program, this time we're going to discuss about the data types. Okay, so are you guys ready? Or ganina na mo ready? Wala pa dito, sir? Kuan pa dito? Yes, kuan pa lang to. Si tawag na.
Sir, susa sir.
Opo.
Mugawa sa mi sir, no klase na mi sa kuan laing subject.
Anak mo, mamiya.
NST. Tingnan mo karon, sir.
Balik na niya sir.
Iktuan ng piloto, sir.
Sige,
Ay,
sige.
dili ko, sir. Balik lang yan yan.
Precedence, sir.
Inig masayo. Inig masayo mo human na balik lang dayon mo.
Wala magbalik, oy.
Yes, sir.
You left, remember?
Hi,
Balik
sir.
inig masayo mo human oy balik lang dayon mo ina inyong classmates.
Yes po, sir. Alas 3, mahuman among NST.
Sir.
Alas 3.
Yes po.
Mahuman mi ani mo.
Siguro.
For the ice.
4.
Dito po.
Alas 3.
Tutangan ni mo, tricks.
Oy, ikaw.
Sige lang kay
alas. Sige, sir.
alas-
Sige, sir.
Sige,
Kailan,
sir.
alas
Thank you.
Sige. Alas 10 man mi mahuman dire.
Sige, sir. Mamalik lang yan, sir.
Okay, sige balik lang mo kay para sa recording na gyapon eh. Okay, tapos kamo mga 2 to 8 1A namoy klase after mga alas 4.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So kamo na po yung manghawa.
Yes, sir.
Sige. Anyway, na-install na daw, na-DL na daw. So install lang to nimo. Si Edlian, okay na mo ha?
Wala sir, naglag akong PC sir.
Uy, makalag di ay ni sa gaan lang maning
Tagdos
Java.
akong PC sir. Low end, mga long PC sir.
Okay. Anyway, ayo mo kaano ha, hadlok gaan lang kay ning Java. In fact, portable kayo si Java, no? So dili kani siya bugat unlike other na mga PL. Okay, so sige. So let's unsa na continue. Okay na ta? Tapos kung amoy question sa ing nako. Unsa man ning 2281A mga hilumon man ang 2281B nako pwede sa bana.
Babaan kayo sila.
Sabaan jud bitaw kay ni akong 2281B, no? Sige lang basin day masabaan ra mo po. Or siguro kabalo na mo or nanay idea sa Java. Kinsa may na mga idea Java dire?
Wala, sir.
Wala pa. Okay? So, class, again, if though ako lang no, a little of advice, a piece of advice. I know lahi inyong path na gi-take like engineering mo, geodetic engineering,
Yes, sir.
and then kasi na amang movement na everyone can code na movement na there are mga few celebrities na mga that knows or who knows already how to code, and then in the future dili moabot ang point na programming is already part of the curriculum starting siguro in elementary, kasi in other countries like dito man ko sa Australia gahapon, dito joke lang, like sa other country like sa Japan, no, bitaw sa Japan class, did you know sa Japan sa elementary pa lang nila gina-teach na nila, gina-train na nila ilahang students na mag-program, no? So and it is an advantage for we, no, Filipinos, especially Filipinos are smart, intelligent, and dali maka-learn. So why not we adapt that kind? So pero anyway, moabot naman na point, no, it's actually as we all know, computers are almost present everywhere. No, technological advancements are almost present everywhere, whether you're in a in a manufacturing, whether you are in a banking or especially mga bangko, no? And almost all na makita nato sa atong surroundings kay operated na with computers. So, malay mo, you are you while you're though you are taking engineering or geodetic engineering na courses or whatever course you are in, at least you have the idea on how to program. And eventually, pas in the future, you can become a programmer. No, malay mo, we don't know. Kasi actually, historically, mga programmers dati are mathematicians. Katong mga itong mga early mathematicians na to, nag-program to sila. So, that's the, kasi programming is an applied mathematics. Everything we do here is actually has a rigor of, like sabi tawag na, has a background on mathematics. So I know I cannot convince you really na maganahan mo sa programming, but programming is really something that makes you think, no? Kasi especially if maggamit na ni imuhang app, and it's really fulfilling to see your app working, no? Like maghimo mo games, makita mong app na gigamit sa uban sa like sa mobile, sa mga computers, and all those things. Same siguro feelings kung kamo mag ano po inyong mga works, no, as geodetic engineers. But this time, sige, let's proceed now. So you can again write your code or your program here in the online compiler. Now let's go right here. So let's start with first output statement. By the way, before I'll discuss output statements, allow me to
sir.
ituyo na ko to kung just to see kung naminaw jud mo or nitanaw jud mo sa akong type. Okay. So, all right. By the way, when we talk about first, no, bago sa tabag discuss, na ay mga tanan, everything you see here na naka-color, like tanan here are called tokens in Java, no, in programming. And then anything na makita ninyo as like this one naka-gray, these are statements that are not read by your compiler. So when we talk about compiler, by the way, compilers or compiler translate high level a high level language into machine language, because our computer can only understand zeros and ones, no, based ato ang discussions before, our computer can only understand zeros and ones. In order for these statements, no, in an English like statements, and these are called high level language, to be so that we're able to instruct our computer to do this task, we have every programming language must be, its high level language must be converted by a compiler. Or what I'm saying is that compiler is required to translate these languages, no, that we write into a machine language zeros and ones. Okay? And let's leave that to our compiler. So si compiler, basta mao na siyang application or app or software na naga-convert na, no, sa ato ang gipang type diri into machine language. So naay certain parts sa atong program na dili basahon sa compiler. Okay? Isa na dira is kanang ginatawag na tong comments. Okay? Sige, comments. Okay. Wait. Comments are ignored by our compiler. So ignored by our compiler. So natay types of comments. Number one, natay line comment. Okay. Multi-line comment. Hindi na ako multi-line. And Java doc comment. Java doc comment. So mo nang three types of comment. Any any text na gamiton nimo or iputang nimo after this block of statement, ay sorry, nada isa dito. Kanida. Okay, multi-line. So, mapansin nimo ang multi-line o ang Javadoc comment almost the same. Pero nani siya special na role, no? So nani siya special role si Javadoc comment. Actually, ang special role ani is it can explain a certain program. No, ma-explain niya ang unsa about imong method, unsa about imong ang function. Let's say this one butang sige unya na lang. Line comments ata. Sa line comment, you can use this comment. So comments or comments are ignored by our compiler. These are only used for describing what that statement all about. Let's say for an instance, maingon ko this program is brought to you by Emily Holmes. This program is a basic this program is going to calculate numbers entered by the user. So example, that's a comment, that's a line comment. So when we talk about line comment, you can only use line comment. Kaya siya line comment it's because you can use this one per line mo only. Like for an instance, I will declare a variable here. Okay, we will talk about variables later on. So line comment, and then I have here, I will declare another one. Na let's say val. So I have here. I can explain my comment here with this. This will store value which is or that are or value that is integer only, something like that. So you can explain. So pwede siya explanation of whatever you're actually doing in your program. Now for multi-line, the multi-line every time you partnered with kaning forward slash nimo with the other with asterisk pero single asterisk lang, it is multi-line. So meaning to say you can type as what you can type here multiple number of statements. So like say the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog near the river bank. So multi-line. So you cannot do that in here no sa line comment. So example, ibutan na nimo na kani error na ni. Okay? So that's line comment and multi-line. So sa Javadoc comment naman, almost the same siya ni multi-line. However, nalan siya ay isa ka asterisk na additional. Okay? So unsa nang Javadoc comment? Example, magbutang ko diri og okay, na lang ko ibutang diri lang sa mo kaano ani example. And then mag-Javadoc dili ko mag-Javadoc comment. So this is a comment at author at sorry, dili day Javadoc kanina dapat with another. Kaya pala dili mo gana. So at author so Marzel Baste, and then so you have here like category unsa ba siya, simple app, and then you can explain whatever your program would do here, no? You can explain anything here. So let's say ato ani siyang i-copy paste dito, and then okay, so i-indent og tarong para arrange siya. Okay, so if ever na mag ano ko og let's say sample. So I have here sample, and then as you can see na siya nakabutang this is a comment author Marzel Baste. So you can personalize your program that whenever the user is going to use this class, the moment na mag-create siya object, naa siya'y nakabutang imong name dira. Like, ayan, para na, ako ang author, Margel Base. So, every time, if ano na ako ni dito sa Oracle, na, like, ibaligya ba na ako ni na class kay, pwede man gud no magbaligya tag mga class or API sa Java or sa Oracle, and then you can have here your names indicated in that in the class. So an explanation of what this code all about. So pwede per course na nimo buhaton. Okay, so nara ang iyahang evidence. If ever na wala ka nagbutang ana, this would not give anything. Yan. So wala siya ibutang. Kasi that's the work of Java document. No, special siya na comment na for documentation purposes. Yan. So again, those are comments. Yan. So those are comments and are ignored by our compiler. So now, since we already talked about comments, let's proceed with variables. Okay, so first is, when we talk about variables, variables in mathematics are used to store value. Tama ba? Natay, let's say, y is equal to mx plus b, no? To calculate the line, or let's say the slope of a line. Depende sa tuang we have here y is equal to mx plus b. So, di ba, these are variables and this can store value. So, this can store point, no? This can store, unsay tawag na to na mga values sa tuang, let's say, b would have 2, x would have 3, m would have 4, so that we're able to calculate the value of y, not the line. Okay, so that's variable. That's the same thing in mathematics, same thing in programming. So, kung mayroong tag, we want to calculate the area of a circle. So, if we're going to calculate the area of a circle, which is, usaga ang area sa circle?
Pi r squared,
2
sir.
pi r squared. Okay, so pi r squared. So, meaning we have the radius and we have the pi. So, pi is 3.14 and then the radius is multiplied by itself, no? Twice. So, multiplied raised to the power of 2, something na square na to ang radius. So, those are variables. So, mo na siya ang idea sa, same siya idea sa programming. So now, when we talk about data types are operations plus statement which you assign to a certain variable. So meaning you're asking you're asking type of data kung sa ano na papangastorya in a simple statement lang siya na pagka-define, it's a type of data you want to maintain or manage. Okay? So, like for an instance, I want my program to accept name. Okay? I want my program to accept age. I want my program to accept salary. Okay, now if you are going to to create a program for this, of course, this one should be characters, right? This should be probably an integer. And this should be something like with decimal point. Okay, so this ones right here, this can be referred as variables, but we call them as identifiers rather than variables. Okay, because when we talk about variables in programming, it's data type plus, data type plus identifier is equal to variable, and that's what makes a variable. So when we talk about data type, these are data types, characters in decimal. So later on, I'm going to show you unsa tong mga types of data types. So now, we have here we have here the identifier and the data type. So data type, example, mayroon kong int, okay, or let's say int age is equal to 45. Okay? Or shall I say double salary equals 29,000.89. So, as you can see here, we have here the data type. So the data type int double. So I'm gonna be discussing to you each of the data type later on. And then we have here data type plus identifier. So identifier, when you talk about identifier is the name you assign, okay, to something. Okay, the name you assign to. So the name you assign to that is age. So therefore, this is an identifier. And then this is also identifier. So if you're going to combine them together, data type plus identifier, it makes a variable. So this time it can store, this is now a variable, okay, which can store, as I've said, which can store data or value. Okay, so that's how you declare or define a variable. So natay different data types that we need to know in every programming, and this is most likely pareha sa uban languages. Okay, question before I'll proceed. Wala sa. Okay, sige. All right, let's go directly with data types, or yeah, data types. Natay two types of data types. So two types of data types are, okay, wait, the primitive types and the reference type. Reference type. So when we talk about primitive types, these are in Java. These are defined by a lowercase, all lowercase, parang state siya or define siya in all lowercase, and this does not have any access on a method. Example, na ako'y int, then a, okay, and then I have here integer b, okay. So the difference between the two is that if I'm going to access methods of a, it doesn't have any methods yet, because I mean it doesn't have any methods assigned to it because it's declared as primitive. This only stores actual value. Okay, when I use the reference types, let's say b, this instead of it stores the actual value, this stores the address that points to a value or the actual value. So para di kay libog, ang difference lang yun nila is when I use reference type, every time I use the dot operator, I can access its method. And you will see here the Java doc comments that I have discussed earlier. Now, so every time na siya method, makita nimo na siya mga Java doc comments to at least give the idea for the programmer who is just starting to learn the Java language to at least have the idea on what this method all about, no? So ayan, pwede niya makita ang definition without looking to dictionary or book, or without looking to internet. Okay, so when you talk about primitive type, mao ni siya, it stores the actual value. So natay double, start sa mga numerical. So character ch, so int num, we have byte, let's say byte val, sige ano lang. Then we have sa pagganito, short, okay, short, let's say age, yan. And then let's have here decimal, so float, let's say float grade, yan. And then double wage, okay, and boolean, okay. Okay. So Boolean found. Okay, so each data type, by the way, sa programming, nana siya corresponding range of value that you will need to understand. Though dili kayo nimo necessary na masabtan to, but it would be better if masabtan to nimo. Like for an instance, I have here an integer value, num. Okay? So you can store as much as data here up to 2 billion sa num. Now dili ko, I would be very honest, dili ko familiar kung I don't know the exact value of num, but it's 2 billion. Okay? For characters, it's 86,000 something. For byte, this is 128 kay 8 bits is equivalent to 128. So meaning this comes from bit. So this is parang 8 bits is actually equivalent to 128 byte. One byte, no? And sorry, 1 byte. And byte is actually 128 bytes. Okay? So diha siya mao na ang basis. Anyway, short is 32,000. 32,567 to 32,768 tapos negative. So see, everything is ano no sa mathematics. So nana siya bytes, mga byte size, meaning if you're going to use this data types plus this identifier assigned as a variable, this will be allotted for, or this is what it is going to consume in your hard disk, no, in your storage. So kung mag-store ka o maggamit ka ni ng mga variables, maggamit na siya og storage sa imuhang maggamit na siya og mga mag-consume na siya og memory sa imong storage. Okay? Si float kay the same na siya sa int, however, ang ihang ano ana is na siya up to 7 decimal places. 7 to 8 may ana. And then kani kay na siya sa 15 ba 14 or 16, ayan, 16 decimal places. Okay, and then kani siya true or false. True or false. So what it does will tell us kung maingon taog if this is only 128 ang iyahang capacity, meaning to say if val maingon kog 125, allowed pa ang val to store 125. But if more than 128 now, actually 128 is not allowed kasi 127 lang din na siya. 127 positive to negative 128. So again, dili ko familiar sa uban, maulan ni kay mga may pinakadali. So 127 positive 127 to negative 128. So if more than that, may kog 129, dili na allowed, dili na pwede ma-store sa ato ang val kasi ang byte is up to 127 positive to negative 128 unless ako siyang ibutang to 120 28. So pwede siya, no? So that's the restriction na pwede lang nimo ma-store sa isa ka value. Okay, so let's say 125. So ang sa kani, this one is a lot of numbers. So pwede ni bisan like 2 billion man siya. So ayan, million, this is million. Tanga na to siya. We have pila pa ni tama. Butang na to. So dili na siya allowed kasi mulapas na siya pila ka billion. So darang iyahang out of range. Ayan. So how do we know na pila taman iyahang value? Pila up to what value lang iyahang i-store? So actually we can use reference type para mahibala nato iyang value. Okay, so example, each of this na siya kakambal na reference type. Let's say integer. So integer num1. So pwede ta mag ano dire, display na to. Okay, num1 dot max value. So dara or butan na nato integer dot max value. Okay, diretso na lang ta. So tanaw to unsay max value sa integer. And then unsay mean value niya. So naon to kung 2 billion ba jud, kung tama ba ako ang guess. And then you have also for byte. Okay? And then byte mean value. So kana lang sa ato ang i-try. Okay? What happened here? Ay. So if i-run na to ni siya, we would have here, ayan. So ayan, now darao 2 1 2 3 2 billion 147,000 2 billion 147,483,647 and then negative 648 ang iyang kaya i-store. Okay? So sa byte pod is iyang max value is 127, iyang mean value is negative 128. So that's the essence of data types. It's like having a glass container. Pag maingon tag na atay glass of container, kung maingon ta og byte, so it's a little bit small ang iyahang capacity compared to short. Kasi short is 32,567. If you want to store more water to that class, you might be considering using the integer or float or double, depende sa imo. So inana ang idea sa data type. So now that you know a little bit of data type, so dili na ako maghatag og further explanation sa data type. Basta inana ang idea sa data type, primitive, reference, depende sa imong gamiton. This time, let's have output statement. Do we still have time? Yes. So output statement. Sa Java, naatay output statement. System .out .print line. Okay, tulo na sila kabuok, by the way. So natay print, natay printf, naputay println. Println is print line. Okay, so explain ako individually. So when we talk about print, let's say ang display kag hello JP. And then sa printf, it's still the same, hello JP, pero nani siya special na ginabuhat. Print format, ang tawag nato ni siya print formatting. Okay? So i-reserve na ko ni siya later. Sa println. Pero the same lang yapon na siya mag-work. Kani si print line, if I will say here, hello world, print line is like naa kay \n. Okay, murag naa kay \n. Meaning to say, ang next statement nimo or next word statement will display to the next statement. Okay, wait for a while. Butang ko drig series of value, or let's say hello JP, I am learning Java programming and I so loved it. And I love it na lang. And I loved it. Okay? So, if you're going to run this program, so ato sa ning i-comment, di ba? Kabalo naman mo comment, meaning i-ignore na niya. So, kanilang ang iyang i-run. So, you have hello JP. Yan. I am learning Java programming and I loved it. So, kung napansin niyo class, nagsumpay-sumpay ang text. Okay? That's because of print. So if you want na dili mag-concatenate or dili mag-append ang next statement after that, that's the time you will use \n. So kani si \n class is meaning \n is it is going to move the statement to the next line. So when you run this one, hello JP, I am learning Java programming and I love it. So because you have \n. Now, let's copy paste this one. And then I'm going to, so i-retain ako ni siya with \n, with \n, and with \n. Ay, sige, di na ako putang \n. But this time, I'm going to make this as like with ln or print line. So hello JP, same siya. But if we're going to run this one, the difference between the two is that you have here yeah, ni-sumpay ni si print ln hello JP here because we don't have here parang print line statement. Yeah, by the way, sa system.out.println para dili ka sige type like system.out.println, type syso lang and then control space, enter, automatic mo spell out na siya sa imo. Okay? Yan. So, we have here print line, so meaning next statement after that. So this is just an empty statement, meaning after I loved it, naalan siya space in between hello JP, blah, blah, blah. But this doesn't mean na naani siya. Mura siya kung sa ato pang, sa ato ang tuan, this is line break or BR, no? Kaning print line. Okay? So now, if i-run na to siya, you have hello JP, I am learning Java programming and I love it. Tapos with print line, hello JP, I am learning Java programming and I love it. Okay? So that's the difference between the two print line. Kaning si hello, napoy isa backslash t. So kanang backslash t is equivalent na siya of 3 spaces. Tab ang tawag ana saya. So kung napansin niyo hello JP o hello JP sa taas, hello JP, no? So there is 3 spaces after hello and JP, or in between hello and JP. So that's T backslash tab. Okay. Now, how about this printf? This printf thing is used for, let's say I have here a value. Let's say val is equal to 23. So I'm going to display here like percent I or D ba? Percent I. And then comma val. So percent D jud di ay. So hello JP. Percent D is for integer, meaning I'm going to display the value of val. So this is a little bit of like C language and a Python language. So ani na ano si C na po in fact kaning printf C language ni siya. Napo ni siya sa Python. Pwede po nimo ni napo ni siya sa Python idea. So magmatter siya kung unsa nga data type imong buhaton, and there are actually a lot of things you need to explore. Like so kung float siya, double, %f, kung string siya, %s, integer, %d, ayan, inana imong buhaton. Okay? So, question with the output statement. I know you are excited na mag-program. Sige. But I'll just need to, discuss from the ano kay para you have the knowledge nganong mag-declare ko ani, nganong nain ani, nganong nain ana. At least naamoy idea. So, any questions so far?
None po, sir.
Very good. Sige. That's output statement. Now, let's proceed with input statement. But before that, before I'll discuss input statement, so kabalo naman ta sa variables. So variables are used to store data, di ba? So let's say may tag num1, num2, okay? And then if you're going to declare a variable, and then you want to get the sum of this variable, let's say num1 plus num2, and you are going to output it in your program. Let's say the sum is, and then sum here. Okay? So take note that in Java, it is really strict that whenever you don't have input statement, make sure you actually declare, you initialize the variable. So by the way, natin ginatawag na variable declaration, variable initialization, and instantiation. So dili na lang kumaadto sa instantiation kasi later I'm going to demonstrate it. Let's start with declaration. So this is what we call declaration. Okay? If I say int sum is equal to 0, this is what we call initialization. Meaning, I initialize my sum to 0. Okay? While here, I only declare numbers 1 and num1 and num2 by and no, or by no initial value. So meaning, I don't initialize, I just declare them. Kasi later on, maghatag kog input, maghatag kog value ana siya based on user's input. Okay? So, pero si Java, medyo strict siya, especially wala ka input statement because unsa may gisam niya. It is Java has to guarantee that there is value, especially pag calculation na iyahang i-calculate. Like for an instance, num1 num2 sa ako i-calculate, mayngon si mayngon si Java, what I am going to calculate with num1 and num2, where in fact you don't initialize your values there unless nakay input statement. Okay? So, if you're going to have here like 2 is equal to 6, this is no longer declaration. This is now initialization. So, initialization na siya. In order for you to run. So, yan, the sum is 8. Now, what if with input statement ta? Okay? So, sa input statement, iba na ako iingon sa inyo ganina, instantiation. Natay declaration, natay initialization, and natay instantiation. When we talk about instantiation, I'll give you a scenario na dili ta mag-instantiate of object. Okay? So, let's say I have here new scanner system.in next next int. Okay. And then I'll need to import scanner. So by the way, the import part is, okay, kaning import means we are going to include the scanner kasi input statement naman gud siya, dili na siya output statement. We'll need to have a library for that. And library for entering a value is this scanner thing right here. So mo na java.util.scanner. Okay? So this scanner class is under java.utility package. So this is actually from this JRE. Pero di na nato na makitaan asa dapit, no? So i-scan pa nato na tanan-tanan dira basta nana siya diri somewhere. Okay? So SE na siguro siya diri. Basta nana siya dira, di lang ko familiar asa nato siya makita. Basta it's under java.util, and then you'll need to do this one right here. Equals to new int num2 equals new scanner. Ayan. So with this, if I'm going to declare this one, oh, by the way, ako inalimtan na miss, kani siyang mga nakita ninyo na kaning semicolon, ang tawag na to ana sa ila terminating statement. Okay? Kani siya terminating or terminator na lang para dali. Terminator. This would tell us na it's the end of the statement. Why? Kasi si Java, unlike sa Python, wala inana, you can just write a code or a program that horizontal lang siya, no? Dito ka pa straight lang imong program. But of course, that is not readable. I would not recommend you doing that. Pero si Java, okay na siya as long as na kay explicit declaration on where it is going to end or sa iyang terminating statement. Pero I would suggest na every line of statement dapat ano nimo siya to the next line. So what it will tell you now, if you're going to run this time, your program, this would tell us that the program is actually waiting for an input statement. So what is this input statement? Diba remember system.out? Okay, so meaning there's an out means an output statement and it's going to output the sum is. Okay, and then plus sum, when we talk about plus sum, plus is, aside from it is arithmetic operator, plus can be also concatenation operator. So when we talk about concatenation operator, concatenation means, kung sa Bisaya pa, isumpay. Isumpay niya ang string at the same time ang value na integer na sum. Kung unsang result sa sum, isumpay sa the sum is. Mo nang concatenation operator. Now, balik ta sa pag-run sa program. Okay? So, as you can see, ang cursor now is blinking and it's waiting for an input statement. So, system.out.println output, kaya siya output. System.in means it's input, no? It's waiting for the value the user may enter using keyboard on ang system.in. Okay? So, and the only way for us to call it, to implement it, is by having scanner. But this will only run on console. Napod tayo pang GUI, G option pane to siya later on na to. Okay? So, system.in, tapos kanin, morning method. Now, we're trying to accept an integer value from the user. Okay? So, store na to daw siya sa num1. Meaning, kung sa to i-type ni user, ma-store sa num1. Kung sa i-type ni user sa next na line, ma-store sa num2. So, you have here 4, enter 5. So, the sum is 9. Ayan. So, this is now, I will introduce to you the difference between declaration, initialization, and instantiation. When we talk about declaration, you just declare the variable. So, nawala ng declaration, kaya wala naman tayo nag-declare. So now, if you want your program na mag-accept lang og value like this one using scanner, this is not a good idea. Okay? So the best idea is you will need to instantiate it. So this is what I meant of instantiation. So instantiation is creating an object of a class. So since scanner is a class, therefore, I will declare an object of scanner. Let's say it's scan input. Okay, pwede console. Basta mo follow lang mo sa, i-follow lang to ninyo ang rules na dapat dili mag-start with number, dili pwede na keyword, dili pwede na special characters except for underscore and ano, kasi dili to pwede, like gamiton nimo like ana, dili na pwede, no? So let's say input na lang equals new scanner. So makita nimo na siya class pag instantiation siya pag naa siya new keyword. Okay? So with this, kay since na naman kay instantiation sa imuhang class na scanner, you don't have to do this anymore. Okay? Instead, imong buhaton is you use input statement. Okay? And then this will be input statement. Instead, you use input statement to represent the inputting or entering of value. So, it's a little bit now it's a little bit neat, no? And medyo dili na siya, unlike kanina, medyo daghan siya codes compared to earlier sa katong gibot nato without instantiating the object of scanner. So that's the idea of instantiation. Okay? So yeah, that's it, no? Pwede ka mag-declare og let's say num1, num2. Okay? Let's say gamiton nimo ang num1 on the latter part, then num2. So this is now declaration only. Pero I would suggest pag himo ka program, dapat naa siya initial value. Initial value, you don't it doesn't matter kung unsa ang value, basta initial value pwede, basta kay compatible lang siya sa imong data type. Whether 1 ba na, 5 ba na, 0 ba na, like butang ka di, initialize kag 9. It depends sa imuha. Walay kanya-kanyang trip na. Okay, pwede ra 0, pwede wala, but I would suggest na naa. But just to give you the idea of declaration and initialization as well as instantiation. So that's how it works for programming. Okay? So now, if i-run na to ang program, it does not give anything there na unsay buhaton. So that's where in output statement is intended for. Muna ang purpose sa output statement. So, mas nice kung nakay output statement telling the user that the user is going to type two integers. So, upon running your program, this would give us type 2 integers. So at least it's very clear for the user what to follow or what to do. So if I'm going to type here 6 and then 7, I have the sum is 13. By the way, kung dili ko mag-print line, kaya naka-print line na to, na-move siya to the next line, pwede rin ako siya inanion. Type 2 integers, 5 and 7. So the sum is 12. Ayan. So that's the that's output and input statement. So pwede na ako ni i-declare, pwede na ako ni siya i-improve like the sum of, okay, gamit tag concatenation operator, the sum of num1 and num2 is ayan, sum. Okay? So, sir, pwede ba num1, num2 automatic na? Pwede. By the way, later on, I'm gonna show you na ay problem with arithmetic operator. Pero sige lang, try sa na to, 8 and 9. So, the sum of 8 and 9 is 17. So, mas okay ang imuhang pag-represent sa data. Kasi, whatever the user may type, 8 and 9, so na siya sa variables nimo na num1 and num2, na-represent nimo siya with real data na you display 8 and 9 is the sum of it is 17. So, na ako ipakita sa inyo na problem with arithmetic operators using concatenation operator na ang imong ibutang is the sum of num1 and num2 is num1 plus num2. Did you know that when you run this program right here, let's say 5 and 9, the sum of 5 and 9 is 59. So it's not actually adding the number, but it's actually concatenating the value 5 and 9. The sum of 5 and 9 is 5, 9. So ang natabo mo gud ana is the sum of 5 and 9 is say value sa num1, 5 and 9. Kasi ang programming i-follow niya ang PEMDAS. Parenthesis, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. But this is only applied to kani. Kasi if I'm going to change this to negative sign, Java would allow us or would require us to make it like has parenthesis. So inana si Java, no? So this is because we use Eclipse. Okay? Kasi naka-ano siya, naka-intelligent siya, naka-translated. So kung gusto ka na translated siya. Kung gusto ka na, it will give you num1 plus num2 katong right or appropriate na summation or sum of number. So let's say 5 and 9. The sum of 5 and 9 is 14. So imuha na siyang butangan og parenthesis. So PEMDAS. Ayan, PEMDAS. Parenthesis, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. We'll talk about this one later, but that is how it is. So that is why it's safe to say or it's safe to do this like naakay operation and naakay. So, mo ni siya ang operation or process and then mo ni ang output statement, mo ni ang input, same time mo ni ang input from the user. Okay? So, output, input, process, and then output. So, sir, pwede ba ni siya instead of sa int sum is equal, di na ako ibutang si num1 plus num2. Yes, pwede na siya inana directly, wala na ni. Okay? So, if we are going to copy paste this one, all of this code right here in this program, in the online compiler, when we run this program, here in the online compiler, this may take a little bit. So, walay import statement. So, we'll need to import the scanner. So, i-copy paste na ito ng appeal. Upon finding, wala daw na import si scanner. So, we'll need to include scanner. So, there. Now, type two integers 5 and 6. So, the sum of 5 and 6 is 11. All right? So, the same. Okay, question. Okay, are you guys excited to program?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Nice, no? No? So, na interesting ba ang programming?
A little bit, sir.
Pero matagal sir.
Sige lang, it's okay. Kasi kung
A little.
nalibog, a little bit. Kung nalibog man, wala tay, I mean, it's normal kasi meaning nag-work atong brain, no? Our brain is really working. Pero kung wala na ka naglibog ani, probably because you don't understand that much. I mean, wala na hindi mo na process yung brain. But it's normal, no, na mag-ano siya. Again, advice na ko sa inyo, the only way to learn, the only way, no, based sa akong experience, the only way to really learn a programming language is by writing programs in it. There's no other way. Ang pag-learn sa programming, murara na siya, o gusto ka mag-learn mo mag-swim. Kung gusto ka mag-swim, know how to swim, dili pwede na tan-awon lang nimo ang mutanaw lang ka sa YouTube how to swim. You really have to execute it properly. Probably maka-learn ka unsay strokes, unsay buhaton, unsay nani, pero dapat nadyo ka sa actual na nisalom ka.
Hindi malimos ana sir.
Practice lang kag inom og tubig if ever man. Okay? So kung practice lang inom tubig, no? Ulutaw man ka pag-ugmana. Okay? So skill-based siya, kailangan siya ma-develop pa siya along the way. Same lang gud gyapon sa inyo sa inyong course. Okay? Sige. Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. Okay. So, i-kompleto na to now that I have already discusses to you the things that you'll need to understand. So, kung wala man na-absorb, it's okay. Anyway, naka-record man eh. My fear karon is, na-record ba ni? Na-record, no? Wala?
Yes, sir.
Yes sir. Yes, sir.
Wala, sir.
Wala ni naka-record?
Record.
Wala sir.
Record. Uy, naka-record.
Scam ka, sir.
Kulba.
Scam ka.
Kulbahan ko gamay na. Kakapoy. Okay, anyway, sige.
Balik,
Balik.
sir.
Patay, oy. Anyway, kato kung gipang discuss send sa YouTube naman to'y murag nag-discuss man po to. Pero again, no, dili jud siya the same sa unsay pagka-explain. Depende mo sa mood na to, no? Anyway, so let's start now working on mga so sa arithmetic operators, by the way, before ta mag sa input-output statement, arithmetic operators, alam naman mo ato, no? So it follows PM dash. Okay, by the way, kung like for an instance, natay 2 plus 3 times 4, pag parihatanan, pag P, so precedence, no? Operator precedence. Sa mathematics, pag dili siya mix, pareha siya multiplication and division, let's say, or addition, subtraction, left to right diretso. Like 2 plus 3 minus 4. Tapos, you have, bisan pag unsa nakataas imuhang i-calculate dira basta kay puro na siya addition and subtraction magsunod, left to right yun na siya always, no? So, left to right. Same with kung combination siya of multiplication and division. So kung multiplication, division na siya, bisan ka pila na ka multiplication dira, multiplication, and then division na naman, multiplication, left to right, gihapon na siya. Okay? Mag-change lang ang precedence or ang iyang priority if nana kay 2 plus 4, tapos times 3, and then same time, mag-change siya pag na kay 2 plus 4 times 3. So, kani wala tay ano na ha? Left to right na diretso. So, kung sa to ang 2 plus 3, 5 minus 4, 1. So, 2 plus 3 plus blah blah. O kabalo na tala, di na nato na i-calculate. Basta kani, multiply, multiply, divide. Kani, same sa mathematical rule, unahon niya ang, unsa man since mix na siya, multiplication, division, na siya multiplication, and then addition, mix, unsay unahon ani?
Parenthesis.
Okay, parenthesis. Very good. Ay, yeah, kani wala man ni parenthesis. Ayaw sa apil ni kayo, dili ni apil sa. Kaning siya, unsay unahon ani? Ang 2 plus 4 or
Plus
4?
multiplication, sir.
Okay. So multiplication ang unahon, 4 times 3, that is 7. Joke lang. 12. Tapos plus 4, plus 2, 14. So 14 ang result ani, tama? Okay. Tama? Is my
Tama,
math
sir,
correct?
tama.
Okay, kani. Unahon ang nasa parenthesis. Unsa may sa parenthesis dira?
2 plus 4.
Yes, sir.
This is
24.
24. Okay, good. So, bisan pa og unsa na siya dira imong ibutang, no? Like minus pa dira, plus ba siya, basta as long as you follow the mathematical rule, 4 times 6, unahon jud minus diha, or 6 minus 4, 6 minus 4. Again, unaha to ang naa sa parenthesis before parenthesis, tapos sunod multiplication and division and addition and subtraction pinakalas. Okay? And then, naatay isa ka arithmetic operator na modulus to 2. Kani siya, gina-return ang remainder. Okay, remainder. You divided the number by 2 and then i-return niya ang remainder instead. So, 5 divided by 2 is pila? Ooh.
2.5, sir.
2.5? Okay. Okay, by the way, sa Java, lahi siya ang iyahang ano lang, no? Kasi inani siya ang may tabo. Kung 5.0 akong gigamit dira, that's the time na decimal ang result. Pero kung puro integer na siya, wala decimal. Pero again, dili na siya division, remainder ang kwaon ana, meaning when you divide 5 by 2, ang iyahang ano is 0. Kasi 5 divided by 2, that is actually 2. Then ang result sa 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So ang result ani is 1. Okay? Nakuha? Yan. So
Wala, sir.
wala.
Sir, bago rami makasulot.
Okay lang. Sige lang. Wala pa po may nagdula-dula naman ganina.
Backread din.
Mabakwit eh.
Backwatch din.
Sir,
Nagdula.
sir ba? Sir, nakita
Ha?
mo sana.
Opo, napo ko ito bag.
Java, sir ba? Unsa gani pulos system.out.print kanang walay ln. Di ba naman?
May labot.
Katong walay print ln kay na-discuss na ako kanina pero sige lang. Katong walay print ln, magsumpay ang result kung wala kay kung print lang imong ibutang. Magsumpay ang result aning 2 plus 3 minus 4 og 2 plus 3 minus 4 plus 4 minus 5 plus 4. So magsumpay na siya. Okay, kani morning 141. So ang 1 og ang 41. Pero kung gusto ka na magbuta na siya butangan mo siya \n. Ayan. Pero check na to. Ang result ng ani is yun. So \n 1 \n 41. So mo na ang difference with print and print line. Okay, good question.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Sige. Yeah, nakuha tong sa remainder na part.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again ha, remainder. So let's say kung magbutang ko og remainder, sige, kani. Ang ko og 24 modulus to 6. O, pila yung result, ana?
0, sir.
May 0. Very good. Ka-bright na lang, Jud. Sige, we have 7. Pila yung result? 24 to 7.
3 something something, sir.
3 something. Lain na po ng something something. Ay mo naman, naigamay. 3 something something. Sige. Again, pag walay decimal point, 6
Three
siya,
na, sir.
integer, 3. Pero pag naa, 3.0.
3.0.
Ayan, very good. So, yeah, that's it. No? Basta nana siya mga 0.0, nana siya point either sa divisor niya or sa dividend, mag-matter na siya, 3.0 na ang result. Pero kung integer siya, 3 lang na siya. So, ayaw mo kalipat, ana ha. Example, mag-divide ko og number. Divide ko og number na 7. Kaya result, ani. The result, ani, 24 divided by 7.
3
Three,
lang,
sir.
sir.
Yes,
Medyo.
okay, 3. Ayaw ning kuan bi. Let's say, ayaw na po ni. Ano na lang? 5. O, 5. Pila yung result, aning 5?
4, sir.
4 lang, sir.
4, okay. Kay 5 times 4, 20. Kay dili man siya pwede 5, no? Cannot be. So, kani,
Yes, sir.
4.
pila?
Ay, kuan for the
4, okay. Pag butang kog 0.0, pila?
3.0. 4.0.
4.0?
Ay, kanda yung what?
Pila may...
4.8.
4.8.
4.8.
Dili mong
Okay.
exact.
4 point
Oh,
something
dili.
something, sir.
Pahitan na yung something. Pahitan yung point something. Okay, anyway, that's operator precedence. Now karon dito na ta sa input-output. Okay? Actually, giano lang nako ang PM-DAS para later on, pag mag-calculate na mo sa inyong program, mag-calculate na mo mga payroll, mga tuition, something, word for the day, something. So, na mo idea on sa mag-work ang ano. So the same i-follow niya sa mathematics. Okay. So let's have here input-output statement. Now this time we're going to have mix. So mo niya akong giyon na string. By the way, kung sa string, this is a series of characters. So you will encounter this string here. So dili ni siya primitive, reference type na siya. Okay? And then this is like, for instance, mga tag name, no? So, okay. And then next, mga ita og age. Then let's say, unsa pa man?
Address.
Okay, sige. Buta na to address. Tapos status. Unsa pa man? Unsa? Then para ano tag float or double or float na lang. Pwede po double. Double na lang. Sige, double. Allowance. So, ana na lang. O naman ito ang question sa katong para sa question nato sa unsa ni katong survey o mo ni name, address, status and status dyan na. Status, age and allowance. So, we'll need a scanner. So, remember kanina no katong scanner. So, instantiate nato siya. So, scanner. So, pwede input, pwede bisan unsa basta mag-follow lang siya sa dili mag-start og number, dili pwede with decimal with special characters except for $sign and underscore. So, new scanner. Tapos, sa time. Alas 4 na.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay na, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
sir.
Wait lang, ako mag-ano sa ako mag-class dismiss ako sa inyo ha, pero magpadayon gihapon ko ha. Wait lang.
Yes, sir.
Mag-class dismiss ako ay asa na to? Tuto laki sa maning sexy, patay na. Isa na to ni ano be
Ay, ay, si sir.
asa na ko? Tuto
Kita ng
Tuto.
pattern, sir.
sure oy. Ay pa na.
Counterlines daw, sir.
Frontliner man to. 2281 bay. Wait lang ha kay at mag-screenshot sa ako yung klase. Mag-extend ta gamay og mga 30 to 1 hour. Okay lang katong gusto na mohawa, pwede na mohawa ha katong sa 2218A kay padayon ako ni sa 2218B.
Sige, sir.
Apo. So katong again mo wala na you can go now katong sa 2218A you are free to go. Balag mamalingki na mo kamo bahala. So
Bye,
yes.
sir.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir.
Bye,
Sir. Hey, sir.
Tapos na good morning naman ko sa Pikas no. Ay good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Good morning na, sir.
Ay good afternoon again di ay. Sige. All right. So balik ta diri sa inyong klase. So inyong na pud ni. Pero medyo i-review na lang ninyo. Na bother ko aning nangugmo ay. Piso singlenial.
Siso na, sir.
Mojo ni ano sa ko nang hingog mo.
Clash ba na mo, sir?
Hi Crash.
Si ano po daw, sir? Si Mamila.
Hi Mamila.
Sir, ano man akong concert?
Yatil na lang po ko, sir.
Ay,
Sige.
sir,
Hi.
ako ipangutan na, sir ba?
Sige po. Unsa man?
Kanang cellphone, di ba, sir? Kanang Java and IDE kay package ba ya to ang ano, Jude, naa sa Java? Nga,
Oo.
to, sir. Wato'y kaso, sir. Hanap ako
Wala.
ganina.
Pwede ra to. Katong sa cellphone gani Android, pwede ra to siya na maka-compile to siya. Kaya lang kung mag-GUI na ta dili na siya pwede. Pero matry man na ninyo dili pwede ang GUI. Kuan na to siya for practice lang jud siya.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sige. Sana ganito. May question siguro diri sa chat. Ay bye na day. Kumusta daw hands-on exam 0100?
Bitaw, sir, kumusta man to, sir?
Di manggana inyong mga kuan.
Nag-submit ko, wala
Sir,
pa
ang ako, sir, kay ano, muga naman to siya, sir. Nakalimot lang kung public, sir. Di-private man gud nako ang
Okay.
Sir, wala. Ano sa mong grade, sir?
Ano pa sa sir, ano pa to, sir? Madala pag charge
Oo. Ano lang katong naka-receive og mga unsa na. Uy, ganahan kay ko sa inyong mga unsa ni, inyong mga website.
Kita sa website, sir.
Nice. Nagbutang kay kog top 5 man yata to, pero basta nice kayo yung mga website.
Sa per section ng top 5, sir.
Top 5
Sir, ako lagi wala pa response.
Wala pa? Basin
ako apod,
perfect na. Basta perfect, wala naman ako ibutang response.
Sir, wala man notif ang
wala pa?
May pangalan mong top 5, sir?
Ano,
Top
sir?
5. Top 5. Clash ka, sir.
Ang top 5, sir, kay per section, sir. Per section, sir.
Per cluster, per section. Sige. Anyway,
Plus points, sir. Plus points.
Ayun na to, 0, sir.
Oo, syempre. Wala zero. Ako lang to. Sige, padayon sa tao niya na to. Istorya na yung website. Okay. Anyway, katong sa nabay ganina, still nagyapoy hantod ganina ani, wala na. Bago na jud mo tanan?
Naa, sir. Ako, sir.
Sige. Anyway, review na lang niyo ang ano until mahuman na to ang topics. Okay. Kay basin medyo daghan ra pud kay tag ma-discuss karon no din na makaya. So we have here ang human na may discuss kanina sa mga data types, reference data types, primitive and other things na importante sa ano ipaki-review na lang ato sa to ay yung ingon backwatch na lang daw. So backwatch na lang mo sa video. Now let's proceed with actual na jud na mga program, how do we actually arrange our programs. Let's say for an instance, natay allowance, sige, allowance per day atong ibutang dire, allowance per day. Okay, and then calculate nato siya based kung pila ka number of days. Okay, sige. Number number of days. Okay, sige. Now, let's have here, kani si scanner, again, morning input statement na to. And then, this is used for accepting value from our user. So, let's say, right here, butang tag system.out.print line. So, print lang ta. Enter or input. Sa may mas nice. Input. Okay, pangit pang enter. Input name. Yan. And then, so you have your name equals input dot. So by the way, we use the input tapos kung gusto nimo full name, by the way, the difference between next and next line, duha din nakabuok class. Okay, yan ako sa ano. Next line. So duha na siya kabuok, next and next line for string. And then display sa nato na siya unsay difference nila ana duha ron. So this is name. First, ang isa name. So, duha na ka input statement, ang isa next line. So, let's see kung unsay display sa next of next line. So, to give you an idea about it, ang next kay regardless kung duha ka words imong gibutang, every after space, pag next lang imong gigamit, ang first word lang ang iyang kwaon or i-capture. Pero pag next line ka, the entire line. So meaning, pag imong pangalan is Mary Grace Alikungkog. So, the entire, sa next kay Mary lang, Mary. Pero kung mag-next line siya, Mary Grace Alikungkog ihang kwaon. Okay? So example ha. Let's have input name, Lee Chu Non. So, ang kwaon lang niya is Lee sa next. Pero sa next line, kay Lee Chunon, wala niya nakuha ang leap, but let's try that one here. Okay. Lee Chunon. So, yan. Kuha niya ang Lee Chunon. Okay? So, that's the difference between next and next line. Alright? So, okay na ta dira. Now, basta string ha, that's for string. Okay? Next is copy-paste nato ni siya. Let's have for address. And then, i-change na nato nito address. Ayan. And then, you have here another one, status. So, status. And then, for age and number of days, so age is, input age. Ayan. And then, age is equal to, dili na siya pwede next line kasi this is only used for string. So, dapat atong buhaton kay next int. Okay? So, next int. Int kasi stands for integer. Ayan. So, this time, let's have here allowance per day. Okay, input allowance per day. Ayan. So, tapos allowance. Okay, this time, ang atuang buhaton would be, this should be not next int here. This should be next double. Although, pwede na siya, pero mas okay kung double kasi double atong data type sa allowance per day. And then, let's say, mag-unsa man, gusto nyo input ang number of days or automatic na 30. Initialize na to. Or i-input ninyo. Input na lang. I-input na lang na to.
Input na lang, guru, sir.
Input na lang na to number of days. And then, this is number of days. So, inana lang yun ka-simple class. Na kay variables, and then make sure na kay mga output statement, and every output statement, na kay statement there that it accepts value. Kay mao man ni ang for input, no? So, partner nyo na si output, input, but depende kaya po na sa imuha, no? Output, input, output, input. And then this time, i-display na to sa ato ang program ang mga output. So, like name nimo. So, to do that, let's have here, so name, \t, buta na ito \t kay para arrange jud kayo or plaster ato ang program. So \t name. And then you have here another one. So address. And then this is address. Address. Ayan. This is status. Status. Okay. And then you have here, ano pa to? Age. Age. And then allowance. Okay, allowance per day na siya. So allowance per day. Ayan. And then you have here number of days. Ay, sorry. Pwede na walay number of days. Allowance per day. Oh, pwede na ito butangan dre allowance, your allowance in na to og pila ka number of days plus in number of days in 8 days. Ayan. In number of days is ayan, allowance per day times iyahang number of days. Okay, so kung you don't like this one, pwede nimo siya ibutang og like total. Double total equals pauni mo ni siya, and then ibutang nimo diri si total, and then you put here the formula. Okay, so that is now our program. So after that, let's run our program here. So input name Lichuna. So address, taga-asa man si Lichuna?
Davao.
Davao. Oh, Davao. Dakbayan. Oh, Davao. Status. Iniwan.
Kwan, ano yung complicated?
Iniwan lang.
Taken na lang, sir.
Nasaktan. Okay, taken. O sige, taken for granted. Charot. Okay, next. Age. Pila edad niya?
96.
Grabe po. Grabe po 96. Kay tungod 69.
27.
Input allowance per day. Allowance per day.
1K.
Kwan siya, mga 5.
420. Grabe po ng 5 allowance per day. Oy, 420. Kana, 420 point, 69 para malipay mo. Okay. So, after this, napay number of days. So, number of days, pila man ang work. Sige, disputang na to ang duration sa adlaw na nagtrabaho siya. Nag 15. O, sige, 15.
Kinsinas, sir.
Ayan. O, Kinsinas. Okay, ayun, no? So, name, Lichuna, Davao, taken for granted, 96. Your allowance in 15 days is 6,310.35. So, nana lang, nag-output lang siya. So, pwede nimo siya butangan o mga design. So, let's say, wait. Ano to siya design gamay. Okay. And then, right here, butang-tang tadre o asterisk punuhay. And then, natulig, nothing follows. And then right here, tanga to siya og asterisk, pero mag \t sa ta asterisk. And then isumpay nato na siya diri sa address, sa status, sa age, and then sa total. So pantay nato. If like gusto kag mainani no kanang syempre most likely mga girls ganahan sila mag-design silang program. So let's say you have here. Yan. Then diri nalapas. Sige. Okay, try sa nato kung i-run ang program. Ay, ang total di ay. Wait lang. Butang na lang ako ng total sa taas ha. So total equals 0. And then total here. Okay? So para dili na sa sig input. Tanaw na to ang display sa program. So this is tangan sa nato mga initial values. Age is 0, number of days is 0, allowance is 0.0. So name, address, so kulang ang okay, so sa status, sa age, kulang pa sa age. And then tanga to ang allowance tanga na to siya o sa baba na to siya iputa. So your allowance in n. So oops, tanga na to siya isa ka tama na to eh. Okay, dugay ra sa kalibutan. Sige. So we have here kaya lang dili siya mo pantay dire. Dungag tag isa ka /t. /t, and then /t. Let's see if kulang paghihapon. So /t, and then /t. Hopefully mapantay na siya. Okay, napantay na siya, and then isa ka /t for this one. Pero ma-rearrange na siya pag magka-value na itong mga name direct. So ibalik na nato itong name. Ito ang input and output, and then mga natag input balik. So let's say okay, pangalan.
Lechonon.
Na unsa? Si Kuan Cory Kong. Okay, Cory Kong. Okay, address.
Davao gyapon sir.
Tagapuan. Okay, Tagapuan daw. Status. Nasaktan. Okay. Age. Edad 20, 23. Okay. Allowance per day is pila man allowance na 300 lang. 300.50. Number of days, let's say 20. Ayan. So there, no, nakalagay name, Cory Kong, Puan, status nasaktan, age 23. Your allowance in 20 days is 6,010. Okay? So that is how you do input output statement. So by the way, pwede nimo ni siya para dili ka sige input as output statement, you can have hold. Okay? Kani siya instead na sige kag system.out.println, pwede nimo siya i-convert into hold. Okay, equals, and then imo na siyang i-answer na. Okay, and then so just wait for a while ha. So this time you'll need a \n every statement. So let's say we have here \n. Sorry. Here na lang. So \n and then \n, also \n here, and then \n, and then mag plus sign ta dire. So plus sign is concatenation operator, so kailangan siya for concatenating the value, the string. And then here, isa na lang ka mag-system.out, which is butang ni mo si hold. So as you type your input or your value, let's say loci, so address is taga-Turel, Sydney, taga-Turel, California, CA. Okay, example lang. So status, ang iwan. Okay. Uy, nag-iwan ng iwan di ay. Okay, next, age, 45. Allowance per day, 43. Okay, number of days, let's say 10 days. So there, no? Same lang gapon siya. But this time, we only use one system.out.print line. Okay? Sige, question. You have questions? Asa naman sila?
No, sir.
Wala. Okay, sige. So, now, let's convert this into an output statement na using GUI, no? So, this time, we use console to actually take input from the user. So, what if we're going to take input from the user using graphical user interface? So, let's say for an instance, we have here for name, asa na to? So you don't need this one anymore. Kani sila, ni, and this one too. So kailangan lang nato dire is, so we're not going to be also needing scanner. So atong kailangan dire is si swing. Okay, javax.swing dot J option pane. So J option pane. By the way, pwede na siya asterisk, meaning all under swing components are imported or magamit nimo siya. Pero if you want na kanang explicit jud iyang pagka-declare sa class, you can have here this one. So okay, let's change this into J option pane that show input dialog. So you have here name. Ayan. And then let's have the address too. So this is address. Okay, and then for our status, we will also this one right here. So status. Now, for input, for age, in entering age sa atuang age, it's not allowed na mag-take tag input using GUI component without converting it to a certain date, a certain value para compatible. So ang data type magud sa atuang age is actually integer, we'll need to convert this into an integer unless ang iyang data type ani is string. Pwede na siya, allowed ang age. Pero of course, the same with the number of days, dili na nato siya makalculate. So either ang option nimo, you make the age as a string or ang number of days as string. But tagaan ta mo idea on how to actually convert it. All you just need to do is magbutang ka og parsing. So integer that parse int. Okay. Wait. Baba sa nato ni. So integer that parse int. So meaning i-parse niya, i-convert niya ang value niya into an integer para compatible ang value na i-assign sa age. Since ang atong integer, ang age is integer. So para compatible. So meaning as you type the value of the age, it is going to be converted into an integer. So example, mag-type ka og automatically inani ang mahitabo. Let's say nag-type ka 34, i-convert na niya into 34. Okay, sorry. Into 34, this time integer na siya. Okay, kani siya string or object pa na. So para compatible siya na maging integer, we'll need to use integer that parse in. So the same thing na buhato na to sa allowance per day. But since allowance per day is actually double, you'll just need to change this to parse double. Ayan. So this is like allowance per day. Okay? And then you have here number of days. Ito na rin yung kopyahon. Wait. Yan na lang. Taman dire. And then right here, number of days. Days. Okay? So after that, that's for input ni siya, no? Mga input statements using GUI. Now, i-output na to siya. Dili na to i-output sa system.out.println. I-output na to siya sa show message dialog. So, show input for entering or inputting. Show message for output or mag-output og value. So, by the way, ayaw na lang sa na-imind ang null dira. Basta always na siya dira na. Okay? And then, I'm going to give you two outputs. So, ang isa ka output kay simple hold. Ang isa kay butangan ako og text area. New JText area. Tapos, hold. Okay? So, by the way, kanang JText area is also under javax.swing. Kapamilya lang na siya. Okay? So, let's try running our program. So now, this is the input dialog. Okay, so mangayo siya name. Let's say, Ali na lang. Ali Punga. Enter. Address. Let's say, Matsina. Status ni Ali Punga. Sinaktan. Okay. Age. 21. Allowance per day. Nanong that man? Allowance per day is, let's say, 1,098. Number of days, 18 days. Murag balot. Okay? And then, enter. So, this is now the first output made by this one. Okay? So, medyo plus star siya pero dili siya in that way or manner that we expect to ng plus ang pagka-placement sa ano, no? So pero the next time is a little bit medyo plus star siya kaya lang sobraan lang og backslash t. So pwede na to i-remove ang backslash t pero ang address here kulangan og isa backslash t. And then obviously, I mean for our katong kani system.out.println mo tong i-display dire. So isa di ay kulang sa address. Yeah, so that's actually the difference between, we are going to discuss more of this in our next discussion sa, what we call this one, basta GUI components. For now, na lang sa siguro. So, i-run na to balik. Okay, and then, have here, singled 25, and then allowance per day is 4,000, number of days 12. Ayan. So first output, then second output. So kulang lang ano lang just sobra lang siya /t ato lang siyang kulangan na siya ibutang. And then yeah, that's it. So question. Question?
Wala man, sir.
Wala man? Okay, sige. Very good. Ka-bright na lang dyan ako mga engineering. Oy. So, so let's stop from there para ma-review ninyo ang video in case lang i-review ninyo if you want. So, try na to og transfer ning kanina program dito sa tuang dire kung i-process paghihapon ni ang out ang J option pane, no? So, okay, right here. Run. This is browser-based. This is from online GDB. So, as you can see, dili niya i-process ang GUI. This is the same thing sa Android ninyo na app. I guess dili siya intended for for GUI. Pang ano na siya, practice lang jud. But regardless sa UI, it's not important for now. Ang importante is ma-develop ninyo inyong logic or ang pag-program because that's the goal of sa programming, no, ma-develop ang logical thinking, and then it follows na lang ng mga UI something. Okay, sige. So I am now going to end my discussion with this one. Then right after, pag ma-process na ning recording, i-send dayon ako sa inyo para ma-review ninyo ang previous na discussions starting from 1 p.m. at 2 p.m. until today, until this hour. Is it okay? Okay na sa inyo, ha?
Yes, sir.
Napa mo yung concern?
Okay ra, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, sige. Wala na dyan question?
Wala na, sir.
Okay, sige. Attendance ako, ha? Okay. Amo ka nang hingog mo dira, oy.
Ayaw, sir.
Lalaki na siya, babae.
Secret.
Alanganin, sir. Alanganin.
50-50.
Ang nanghingog
Alanganin
mo?
babae. Alanganin malalaki.
Ako mo nga nanghingog mo. Sige, so I guess that would be all for now. Thank you guys for joining in. Have a great day. See you guys.
Mag-attendance pa man kaya ka, sir?
Kaninang naas dire.
Ang top 5, sir.
Ano sa kay mag-check manon pa na akong encode kay Wednesday bi ang deadline. Wednesday 17, kano sa ng 17?
Next week, sir.
Wednesday.
Sir.
Wednesday, oy. Next week. Wednesday ang deadline.
Sir.
Wednesday ang deadline, so Wednesday dapat maka-send ako og grade.
Ay, sorry.
So, tapos i-update na lang po nako inyong grade sa prelim kay basi na ay mga changes ato. Okay? So, thank you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye. I love you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Ingat. Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Dan.
Uy, upat naman na ito diri ah. Bangon mo uy. Munang klase.
Sige, bye-bye.
Katulog ko.
Karon ikaw kasulod.
Tingala ko
Patay,
nihilo
Gordon.
Ala, sorry.
Bye-bye.